Okay, this is a video I'm making for Slammiversary. You see the title, but I gotta make this part of the video because I am determined to get what I need to say out. I'm gonna try and do it under 2 minutes. Just in case chat and Ember Paradox. She's a VTuber. I've talked about her once before. She's a great lady. She has a great chat. I actually care very much about them as much as I care about the people who come to my channel and watch my wrestling reviews. I also care about the chat and Ember. And just in case they come to this video, because I left an unlisted video in Discord for them to see because of what we were watching before Slammiversary. I was with her, I was with chat, we were watching a Fat Electrician video, and it was talking about a soldier who did some extraordinary things during World War II. And right when I was telling them, well, Ember in the chat found out something that was very heartbreaking and horrific. And for me personally, I actually met someone from my mother when I was very young who said that they were there at Saipan in 1944. And I told them, but at the worst time. And I didn't completely say everything due to the fact, as anyone who knows, who are wrestling fans who come to my channel and probably chat with Ember, I spell very badly. And by the time I typed it out, she was already crying. And when I pressed it, I didn't realize how bad she was going to get upset, and the rest of the chat, and they were pretty upset. It wasn't I said something super offensive, which I was just telling them what the guy told me when I was very young. It was just bad timing. It upset her, it upset them. And so I made an unlisted video apologizing. I didn't have to, but I care and respect everyone there. They mean a lot to me as much as the people here on this channel, along with Ember. So I had to say this here just in case anybody comes. I know, I'm sure you're not pissed at me, but I had to make the video because it was, I could not watch Slammiversary the way I did without saying something. Just so you guys who's on my YouTube channel say, wait a minute, you didn't watch Slammiversary? Not in the beginning, no. Just in case you don't know, the very beginning, I didn't see it. I didn't see the countdown. I didn't see most of Ali versus Cedric Alexander's match. I've actually now have seen it. I've seen what happened on the kickoff, at least most of it. And I've seen what happened in the first match now. I saw most of it. I mean, all of it now. I know this is longer than what I wanted for 2 minutes, but I had to say that so you guys can understand and Ember's chat can understand. Or Ember herself, just in case she does come to the channel thinking that I think she is truly angry at me. I know you're not. And the rest, I believe you're not. I'll be there tomorrow if you guys are not too pissed at me. Now, I said what I need to say. I'm sorry for guys and girls who are on my channel for wrestling. I'm sorry I had to say it. You can, I'll leave a link below so you can pass this point. Okay, what do we get for Slammiversary? I'm going to tell you this. It was what I expected. Now, I'm not telling you, I think I'm going to leave this for the end, what I think about the WWE and TNA's collaboration. Let's just go through it. The Kickoff show. The Elegance brand versus the Inspiration. Let's make it very clear. I was hoping very much when it came to Cassie and Jesse, that they would not do the same thing they did before when they first came in more than 4 years ago. Say about almost 4 years ago, 3.5 to 4 years ago. I say 4 years ago, when the Inspiration left WWE and they went to TNA, which was Impact Wrestling. Did they do good? Yes, the match wasn't 100% bad. I'm not going to tell you that when it came to Cassie and Jesse, they looked great. They still look a bit sloppy due to the fact that, well, they're both mothers now, and they probably haven't had a lot of time to train to get in great shape. And then more than that, let's make it very clear, if you don't wrestle all the time, you're sloppy. And both of them look a bit sloppy. There's no lie about it. So the match itself wasn't bad. There was a lot of cheating by the Elegance brand, and they won. I was very surprised and very happy about that, because it shows they're not just catering to Cassie and Jess. They're actually going to try and build them. At least it looks like they will. This is one thing I can say with the creative team of TNA at this moment. They are booking them better than they would if they were in Impact Wrestling before. Let's make it very clear. I've never agreed with the creative writing of Impact Wrestling all the time, particularly what Scott did. Sometimes he had it on track. Other times it was trash. Here, at least I would say the proper booking was done. Now, we had the 6-man tag. We had... Well, let me give it to like this. Is it great to see the hometown man win against Eric Young? Yes, because that means you're going to be doing something with Eric, which Eric's done practically everything in the company. He needs a storyline to still be relevant, and he's so over with the fans as a heel. The only ones that are not over, it's not the hometown man, it's not Eric, it's the Northern Armory. It's Icarus and Williams. They're just not over. They need to do something with them. But this really isn't about them right now. They're still henchmen. They're still doing Eric Young's bidding. But the hometown man had the match. He managed to win. And now Icarus and Williams are getting their asses handed to him by Eric Young. He can't stand that he's losing to somebody that should not even be in a company. So, this is what we got. Do I believe it's good to see? Yeah, I do believe. But I'm going to say this. There better be something good. There better be something good for the hometown man and Eric Young. I just don't want them to be a throwaway story. But the hometown man is so over. It works. They got to keep doing something good with this story. Now the 6-man tag, where we have Warner, we have... Let me give it to you like this. I did not expect Warner, Macklin, or Jake something to win here. Because since they're working with Fourth Rope Wrestling, I believe that's what they're called. And that we got Zilla Fatu, Umaga's son, the Enzo, and what is the guy's name? Josh. I only barely remember Josh. What is his name again? Josh Bishop. I think I barely remember him. He was there maybe a year or two ago. I think a year ago. I barely remember him. But since they're doing they're working with Fourth Rope Wrestling now, and knowing that former Enzo Amore, who is now known as Real One, I'm sorry. Which one you think feels more legitimate? And remember, what were the fans screaming? Enzo Amore's name. They were screaming Enzo's name. Now, it doesn't mean that WWE is going to let him use that name. He's going to use Real One. But people remember as Enzo. I remember as Enzo. And to be honest, I'm going to slip up and keep calling him Damn Enzo because he's Damn Enzo. He got treated really bad because of the allegations. Remember, the allegations were found not legitimate. He went through court and they just let his ass go. So he, to a point, feels treated like crap. And I know he's done his best to make Real One mean something, but Enzo is Enzo. And they said it on and off. I'm sure I'm going to say it. I'm just saying to you guys, you're going to say, dude, you got to remember it's Real One. No, I'm going to keep calling him on and off Enzo because that's how I know him. The match was fine, and Real One gets the pin on Jake something. I was not surprised that Macklin didn't take the pin. I'm not surprised Warner didn't take the pin. It was going to be Jake because he's the biggest, baddest guy there. And they wanted to make Enzo feel legitimate. If he used to be with a 7-foot tall whole G, he is a whole G. He's got to take down the biggest one in the block. So now, Fourth Rope is going to have 3 of their people, where one of them is working Reality Wrestling. I believe he's working Glory. I think. I haven't checked Reality Wrestling in a while for Zilla Fatu. So I don't know. I think he's on Glory. So, it's cool. It makes perfect sense that he would be there. And Fourth Rope, he's working with him. So, let's see how far TNA is going to work with Fourth Rope Wrestling. Or just Fourth Rope. Now, let's go to the main card. Which I will tell you. When you see this match, it felt important. Cedric Alexander with Mustafa Ali. I know he can be called Mustafa Ali. I still like Mufasa. That I know his Mustafa. I like calling him Mufasa. He sounds better that way. And you see Order 4 there, including, I believe I have a shot of her. You're looking at a Tasha Steelz with some braids in her hair looking good. And she was more instrumental in that match than either Hunch or Skylar. She took a freaking gut check. I think I got a shot of it. It's in my damn face. She took that damn gut check like a champ to her back. Not to her stomach, to a damn back. And that is the main reason that Ali won. And that is the main reason that she did it. She wanted Ali to feel legitimate again after what happened with Santana. And I'm fine with it. The question now is, where they're going to go next with Cedric. If Cedric is still going to be working with TNA for a while. Because I don't know. He could be signed to TNA. Or this might be a short program of at least to the next TNA Plus show. I don't know when that's coming up. I don't know yet. I haven't checked to see if Cedric is signed or not. As far as I know, he's not. But you guys are going to tell me below if he is or not. But if he isn't, they may keep this story up to the next TNA Plus show. Which, I don't know which one it is. Is it Forbidden Door? I think? No, not Forbidden Door. I forgot the name of it. WrestleVerse? I believe that's the one. That Forbidden Door is AEW. I think it's WrestleVerse for TNA. I think it's WrestleVerse. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I thought about it. So seeing that would be understandable. Now, Dark State versus the System. Knowing that Dark State is working with the System, at least in this show, felt important that we see the most dominant faction deal with each other. Well, at least until Order 4 does something, which I think Order 4 needs a new member. I wouldn't be surprised if Ali brings in another member, that if they keep the Dark State showing up, then you would have an extra person there. They need one. They need extra muscle. I don't know who they bring in. If they did, I do believe it would be wise. But when you see the situation against the System with them, this felt like it was more about getting, well, Matt Cardona and Brian Myers working together. It's a wise thing to do. Do I believe he's going to join the System? I don't know. Maybe he might join. Or maybe he may pull him away from the System and they'll have a situation where the System is up against Myers and Matt. They may be trying to pull them apart. So the System will break apart. Or he may join. I don't know. But I am interested in seeing what type of story you're going to do with Brian Myers working with Matt and the System incompatibility. It's going to be interesting. Of course, the System won because Dark State shouldn't be winning. They should be menacing. There should be a problem for TNA. More than they should be a problem for NXT. To be honest, they just don't feel legitimate in NXT. They don't. They just don't. But this is just me. You guys tell me below. And let's put it to you in this respect. What did we get with the match between Indy Hartwell and Tessa Blanchard? I'm going to say this. I've never lied or hid the fact I just didn't like the booking of Tessa. If she was going to be a true badass, she had to go through the entire division. Every knockout, know if they're heel or face. She says she's the most dominant woman. She went away for nearly 5 years. She hadn't worked since 2020 in TNA, Impact Wrestling. And to make her feel dominant, she had to go through every woman on the roster. Not just faces. She had to go through heels and faces to truly look dominant, and she never did that. She had only 3 matches. And one of them doesn't really count because even though Jordynne Grace put her over, Jordynne Grace wasn't staying in the company. It just didn't feel legitimate until she went up against more than just 2 people. She only went up against Ling Yang Lee, and then she only went up against Masha, first in tag, and then now in the match she went up against. And she felt illegitimate. Here, her booking working with Indy Hartwell feels so much better. They're going away from her being the most dominant woman on the roster, saying she's going to go through everybody, that she's the best. It is now just focused between 2 people who've known each other for what? They haven't been around each other in 7 years. They knew each other at least near 10 years ago. And it feels like two former friends, one of them helping the other, and now one thinking that the other one is nothing compared to them due to the fact of their name and due to the fact they have been a champion, not just for women's champion, which is the knockouts, but also the men's champion, which, to be honest, should have been booked like China type of booking when she became an IC champion in WWE. They didn't do that. They made it all about her being a woman instead of being like a China who had help by her side, other women or a man or something, or Daniel Bryan type of underdog that didn't make it about her sex. So this I agree with. And then they make a little twist. Gia Miller got her ass handed to her. They made it very interesting because Gia, if I remember correctly, Gia has not been wrestling for quite a while. The last time she wrestled was Throwback Throwdown 4, I believe, or 5, 4 or 5. And that was 2 or 3, easily 3 years ago. The last time I think they did one was about 3 years ago. And I have not seen her wrestle. If she's wrestled on Explosion, I don't watch it. As far as I know, she hasn't. She's been a commentator on Explosion, and she's been an interviewer. That's all she's done. So we got her legitimately taken out by Tessa. Now, that could mean a couple of things. One, Gia may be getting back into the ring, even though Tessa was found at the end of the show. She is indefinitely suspended, which doesn't mean she's suspended permanently, because maybe Gia will come back and she's going to demand a match with her, and they're going to try and do it in that way. Or Tessa had to go off and do something, so they needed to write her off TV. And you don't know about Gia. Let's make it very clear. Maybe Gia had to be taken off TV for a while, but they wouldn't just say that. They wouldn't do that. I mean, let me give it to you like this. As a Explosion commentator and interviewer, they could just say that she's off doing something, that she had to take a leave of absence, and that would have been enough. I truly believe that this is going to be a storyline, and they're going to do something with Gia, which she hasn't done anything in years. The only thing she's done is commentary. Now, mind you, we may actually get, the reason that she's no longer doing this, maybe we'll get maybe we might get Ricochet's wife taking her place. You never know. Even though she did say she wanted to wrestle, maybe she made a choice to go to TNA. I don't remember his wife. But you never know. Anything could be possible here. Don't know. But we'll find out. Next. Title versus title. Know what? No. I'm doing this for the last two. This will be the last one I'm going to talk about. Let's go to, Moose versus Leon Slater. X Division. Putting up the most dominant X Division champion in quite a while. Second line for the second longest run in history of the company, Moose. Versus Leon Slater. Someone I've said that truly feels more legitimate than you would expect him to be. Because he does feel legitimate. I'm not saying I can always call when someone's going to make it. But when you look at Leon Slater versus Devon Evans, and I think Devon is still a good wrestler, Leon just feels more charismatic. He just feels more legitimate. I've said it. His mic skills have felt better than Devon Evans. But since he was barely used on television, barely used on Impact and the Impact Plus shows and the pay-per-views, he just didn't feel like anything until the last 4 months or so. Easily. The last 4 or 5 months. Easily he feels more legitimate. And I just had this feeling Leon was going to win the X Division Championship either now or he was going to win it at Bound for Glory. This is what I feel. If he had not won it here, it would have been Bound for Glory. That he would be getting a second shot at it. But they decided to do it here. And it felt important when he did. The match itself was easily one hell of a great match. It showed how Leon could actually work a match. Now, Did he do too much high flying? Yeah, he did. There were a couple of spots I think he might have hurt himself. Legitimately. I think he actually started getting welts on his shoulder, but that could have been the paint that he had in his body because he wanted to do an homage to Jeff Hardy. Hard to say, though. I think it might have just been the paint he had on his body. But when you see the match, he is an X Division champion. He epitomizes the X Division. It just felt like it. And he won that match. His mother was there. His girlfriend was there. His sister was there. They gave him a big hug. He got back into the ring. And Silver was about to hand him the title. But, no. Moose took it from him. And Silver's saying, give him the title. And he's saying, you better give me my title, big man. And he's turned him around. And he put that bitch around his waist. Nice. That was the wisest thing to do. Show total respect to Leon and how hard he worked. And I like that. That's one of the things. I know there are a lot of people who don't know about Moose that are just diehard WWE fans. But if there's any WWE fans that are now looking at Slammiversary and wanting to know who is an MVP of this company that just recently started watching TNA, and this is the first time they're watching a video of a pay-per-view of TNA. How you doing? I've been doing this for a very long time. Just in case you want to know, I've been doing this since 2012. I generally know how TNA works. When it was called Impact Wrestling, I'm sure you're going to say, wait, Impact? Yes, they changed the name from TNA, which many people conform to tits and ass, to Impact Wrestling. They only recently came back to using the old name TNA. But if you want to know who is the MVP of this company right now, it's Moose. Moose is a true MVP. If you look through the catalog of videos, if that's what you like to do, you will see Moose as one of the best wrestlers they've had in years. But if you don't want to, just keep watching. You'll see Moose when he wrestles, and when he talks, you'll grow to like him. But it didn't stop there. We knew AJ was going to come. And I said it myself. There was only a few things AJ could do. One, he could go in the Hall of Fame, but I already knew that he said he doesn't want to do this until he retired. But you never know when someone can change their mind. So I knew that the only option would be was he was going to say something, because I didn't expect WWE to allow him to wrestle for TNA. I did not think it was going to happen, and I was right. AJ came out, he greeted and congratulated Leon Slater, and he made it very clear, I was made here, and I made this place. And he mentioned the people that were not in the company anymore or in WWE. He mentioned Christopher Daniels. He mentioned Jerry Lynn. I believe he mentioned Samoa Joe. He made it clear that he had to mention the people that were known. And since this was not a WWE ring, where normally they don't automatically mention everybody. I mean, they now are doing it a lot more. But we are talking about some of them as active wrestlers or inactive, like Christopher Daniels, who is done with wrestling. But he mentioned them. He made it very clear how special this was. And people were asking for one more match. He says, we'll talk about that one day. But I didn't expect an AJ Styles to set up a match between him and Leon Slater. I was wondering, if they did go there, who would be the best person to piss off AJ Styles if it wasn't Leon, to bring him back to wrestle? Mustafa Ali. After what he just did against Cedric Alexander, if he didn't attack him there, if there was going to be a collaboration between TNA and WWE where one person would go to the main roster and mess with somebody, it would be Ali messing with AJ Styles, and he would be brought in to wrestle with him. Because now I don't really know where they're going to go next, even though I'm sure Cedric is going to do a little bit longer of a program with him and have a feud with him. But like I said, I don't know how long Cedric Alexander is going to stay in the company. Is he signed at this moment, or is he just doing some recordings for the next month or so, which that will give them content until their next TNA Plus show. I don't think he's going to keep working all the way up into Bound for Glory unless he's signed. At least for a couple of months. I don't know, you guys, some below. Now, Carlos, I want to say this, two things, not wrestling related. Well, not in the ring, wrestling. Seeing Carlos Silva there to hand over the titles, did I feel like it needed to be there? No. I'm telling you right now, I did not think Carlos Silva needed to get in the damn ring and hand those titles over when you know what happened in the Knockouts match and the world title. I didn't think he was needed. I just didn't feel it. I didn't think he needed it. Second thing, 7,623 people were in the arena. They haven't had anyone that high, or even close to that high, in 12 years. Maybe about 5,000 or 6,000, I'm sure, the last time they had it easily. But it's 7,600 people. They have never had it that high. The highest they had it was 12 years ago. I want to say this. Okay, good. I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they finally got a good number for their attendance. But I'm going to be honest. I'm going to make this very clear. I know people are going to say, well, yeah, that's great, isn't it? Well, to be honest, if you're talking about in history, no. Let's make this very clear. That number should be higher. And I'm hoping that number will get higher by Bound for Glory. It should be over 10,000. I'm being honest here. Let's make this clear. AEW managed to get over 10,000 people to come to their show when they first were beginning to start by just a rumor. Now, they've always talked about that in AEW. And let's make it clear, if you look at the history of TNA, they were AEW. They were the alternative. And if we're going to be honest, have they ever broken 10,000 or more? Now, mind you, they probably have when they used to be TNA, the older version of TNA, maybe, just maybe they might have hit 10,000 maybe once or twice, but as far as I know, they haven't. They haven't done that. And now knowing that they haven't even hit 7,000 in 12 freaking years, I'm glad it happened. I'm not going to tell you I'm not happy. But if you're looking at it from a perspective of how long the company's been around, if they have not ever managed to break more than 10,000, that's not a good thing. That shows that as much as they were the alternative, people were not going to them. Yeah, they were watching it at home, which made them great money. But AEW managed to do 10,000 just by a freaking rumor. It makes me upset to know that they couldn't pack it more than that. I wish it was more. Now, I'm saying it again. I am happy they managed to get that high. They haven't done it in 12 years. That's a good thing. But it's not a great thing. And I'm being objective here. And people are going to say, dude, you're just nitpicking. Well, that's my job. I'm supposed to let you know what my opinion is on this company who's collaborating with the biggest company on the planet right now. And with this collaboration, and we are talking about what happened in the last few matches, you tell me, shouldn't they have more? Now, let's move on. Ladder match. Fatal 4-way. We got the Hardies, the Rascals with Myron Reed, because as you already know, Trey Miguel was with a hernia. He couldn't wrestle. So Reed had to take a spot, which he did a great job in. Then we had the Nimitz, who did well. But the one that you need to give his flowers to, you need to give him some praise. You must give him praise. If you cannot do this, if you can't say, you know what, he isn't perfect, he's not always great, but he did a decently great job here. He wasn't a perfect wrestler. He's not. Making it clear. He is not the greatest wrestler, but he's good enough that you can say, dude, he did a good job in this match. And that is AJ Francis. I want to make this clear. AJ being the tallest and biggest guy there, doing most of the spot work with the ladders, taking Reed, holding him to his chest while he's holding a ladder, hammering everybody, and then doing a strongest slam with the ladder with Reed in the middle, pancaked. That is a lot. And then by nearing the end of that match, when he's on the ladder, and they shove him off, and I believe I got a shot of him. It's in my face. Boy, he went between the ladder legs, the rungs, I'm sorry, not the ladder, the rungs of that damn ladder, where his nuts took the full brunt of that landing, and he crushed his leg under that ladder and his nuts with it. If you cannot say that AJ Francis, yes, he's not the perfect wrestler. I do not wish for him to keep doing Tennessee Whiskey. I wish he would stop doing that move for a while and do other moves. Seeing him do a swanton, he did one. Seeing him do more than a few moves that I've said for a while, he should show what he can do more of. This is one of the few times you must say that this guy was willing to take a big-ass bump and could actually be legitimately hurt because of it. I'm hoping he's fine. He took one hell of a hit. And he did very well for a big man in this type of match with other guys there. He wasn't perfect, but we're not talking about him being perfect. He did a great job for a guy that size, willing to take bumps and make sure everyone else generally looked good. But in the end, seeing that Jeff managed to get a wrong type of ladder from the rafters come down, and he managed to use that, climb to the top of the ladder, climb to the top and grab the top. I think I got it. It's in my face. I'm like, that has never been done. I don't think anyone was crazy enough to go off somewhere, then make sure that a ladder comes down from the roof, from the rafters, then climb that rope type of ladder, and then, well, it's not rope, it was metal, but then use that to get the titles. That was different. And they won again. I didn't expect them to win. I mean, let's be honest. If it wasn't going to be Hardies, the only team that really felt like would be wise enough to give the titles to, weirdly enough, would have been First Class. With KC doing a great job during that match, taking a lot of bumps after he had that dislocated knee. He did really well. But I felt like the Nimitz were not the wisest one to give that title to right now. It should have been First Class. And let some heels actually have that title that were somewhat comedic. But then, after the Hardys won the titles, you got Bully Ray showing up and talking about 25 years ago in New York, they had the first tag team ladder match, which was unprecedented. No one ever done it on nationwide or international TV at the time. So, he said, we both had made our marks in wrestling. You won titles, I won titles. The true greatest tag team, you can agree with me along with everyone else, it's not either one of us. It's the Road Warriors, which they agree, and I do agree. The Road Warriors were the best tag team of all time, in my perception. Yeah! Sorry. I'm sorry, I had to. Seeing Hawk with that damn tongue out, having it like this with Animal, it just, there's no one better. There's just no one better. But he said, Bound for Glory, one more match, Team 3D versus the Hardys. This is where I'm like, okay, why did this happen? Why would Devon, who is not wrestling right now, that's doing his own podcast, I believe, and his own YouTube channel, just like Maven is doing, what possessed Bully Ray and Devon being willing to come back into the ring within 4 months, get in shape, to do one more match? It can't be to get into the Hall of Fame. They're already in it. They're already in the Hall of Fame, I believe. I know that Team 3D should be already in the Hall of Fame, if I remember correctly. They should be. Unless they're going to be inducted, if I remember. Of course, they're in WWE's Hall of Fame. But I don't remember if they're in TNA. I believe they are. Bully Ray's already Hall of Famer. I don't remember if Devon is. If Devon's not a Hall of Famer yet, he should be. But if he isn't, and they're going to induct Team 3D together, I can understand why they're having one more match. At Bound for Glory, they're going to announce it then. So that's what I was thinking. Am I interested in seeing it? Yeah. I am interested in seeing a Bound for Glory, Team 3D going against the Hardys one more time. The last match you'll ever see between the four. I never got a chance to see them wrestle when they were in the heyday. Like I've said, I couldn't do it. I was working. My ex-wife really wasn't interested much in wrestling, and I barely had any time to really watch it because I was working, because I was married, that my wife didn't have an interest in it. So there you go. Now, the two matches we need to talk about. Let's make it clear. First match. How can I say this? I truly felt like Trick was going to keep that title. And this is the triple threat between Trick Williams, between Joe Henry, and Mike Santana. I know I can leave this for last, but the other match felt more important than this because I said it myself. When Trick first won that title, I felt the best option to TNA at the time was for Trick Williams to keep that damn title until Slammiversary. But as time went on and seeing how Trick was doing with that title, I felt like they're not going to do it. They're not going to drop that title at Slammiversary no matter who it is. They're going to go to Bound for Glory with him. When Santana lost on NXT TV, I knew when it went to Slammiversary, he wasn't winning. And when it came to Joe Henry, there's no reason to give it back to him. None. Even though I love Santana and I truly believe he is going to be the next champion. They are setting him up to be the champion. And I do believe it's going to be a signature win at Bound for Glory. But when this is all going down, and the match itself was good. You see Trick being Trick. You see there was a choir there singing Whoop That Trick. And it felt awkward. It didn't. That guy going whoop, whoop, whoop. And everyone's singing, but he's going whoop. It didn't sound right. I'm sorry. It just didn't sound right to me personally. It sounded okay, but it just didn't sound right. And that guy just going whoop, whoop. It should have been more than a couple of guys with a deep voice going whoop. So it would even out the entire choir. It just didn't sound right. But it was done. Now, what did I feel about Santana's theme with the guy who normally does it? It felt fine. And it made sense because they were in New York. He had to do it there. And seeing that Trick tricked a lot of people and made it very clear at the end because he tricked them in the beginning of the match. And when Trick looked like he got messed up when Joe Henry jumped off and jumped over the top turn rope and landed on both Santana and him, that there's something wrong with his right knee. I'm going like, you're joking with me. He did not get hurt. And you see everyone coming over, trying to help him and take him to the back. And I'm going like, okay, there's only one of two ways it's going to end. Either when they swing around, because they're not showing him being taken away, which is normal if someone gets hurt. But this is what I thought. Either one or two things. When they had to change cameras, because they were doing center or they were doing to the right, they weren't showing to the left. If he was still there, standing there, because they showed him standing there, angry, he was going to win. If they showed him gone, then it was going to be Santana was win. And they switched over to the camera where they showed him halfway up the ramp and they're examining him. I knew he was going to win. I knew that Tricky was going to win. And guess what? Tricky is as Tricky does. I'm saying it right now. I'm not saying Tricky is, Trick does. Tricky is and Tricky does. Because he is the Tricky. He is the only Trick in town. And after Spin the Block was done, and you see Joe Henry get, I believe it was Joe. Was it Joe or was it, I think it was Joe who took, was it Joe who took the pin? Or was it, I didn't write it down. I'm just like, there was no way he was going to lose. They're going to Bound for Glory with him. I do believe it was Joe Henry who ate the pin after taking at least not one, but two spin the blocks. I knew he was going to win. Doesn't mean the match was bad either. Both of them looked good. The beginning when it came to Joe and Santana before Trick got into the ring was good. Seeing Santana working with Tricky was fine. Seeing that Trick Williams was working fine with Joe, it was all right. Were there a few botches? Yeah, but it wasn't very much. It was a good triple threat. But I knew he was going to win. Now, have to switch it. because this was on the back of my paper. Final match. And this is the reason for the title. JC James versus a Masha Slammiversary. Title versus title. This match, we already know who won. And the match was good. It was a good showing for JC James. She's not the greatest wrestler, but she is a good wrestler. And seeing that Nyx as well as Fallon Henley got attacked by Lin Lang Lee and Xia Brookside, so that means maybe this coming week we will be seeing a few. Well, we might see a few between the four women, or we'll just have a match that's on TNA between Fallon and Jasmine versus Xia as well as Ling. We'll probably get that either on NXT TV where they may fight, and then we'll have the actual match on Impact. But let's make it very clear. They had to help a JC James to retain. There was no way. Doesn't mean the match wasn't good. But after that second title got into the ring, and then that straight shot to the face to a Masha, and she won. And Carlos Silva, who I felt wasn't necessary in this match, after the match was over to give the title to JC, I felt that didn't need to happen. It just made it redundant, to be honest. But let's make it very clear. JC James is the current NXT champ and the new TNA champ. WWE did what I thought they do. Or should I say, TNA did what I thought they do. I knew 100% there was going to be a crossroads here. Where, like I said, how am I going to explain this? Look, guys, let me give it to you like this. When this collaboration first started, I made it very, very clear. Wait and see how this collaboration was going to be for TNA with WWE. I said this from the very beginning. Wait and see how things were going to go. Because I felt that TNA was getting the short end of the stick in this situation. I truly did. And yes, the writing got better. Yes, the sets got better. The audios got better. Cam work definitely got better. The writing was sporadic at first and now has become consistently good. Not great, but good. Which I praised them for. I've never said they didn't earn what they deserved. But now you see, if you haven't seen what I said over a year ago now, when they started announcing that WWE was going to collaborate with TNA, now do you see what I was saying? Wait and see, and now you see it. TNA is the bitch here. Now, mind you, I want to make this clear, even though I said this. It is the wisest thing to do. Even though they're being basically bitched by WWE. Let's make it very clear. TNA has gotten more traction working with WWE than they have on their own since they rebranded themselves back to TNA when they were Impact. Let's make it very clear. Yes, they worked their asses off its Impact from 2017 on, and they've been sporadic since then. Bad audio, bad sets. Writing has not been good all the time. I'm not going to tell you that Scott D'Amore did a great job, because he did not. There were times when he fucked up lovely, and some cases he did pretty good to near great. But it's never been 100%. There was always some type of issue with the audio, the lighting, the camera work, the storylines. Always something. And they've done in last year well. But they've always been on the receiving end of, let's make it clear, the lowest hanging fruit from WWE. And yes, they showed AJ Styles, who's a legend. But AJ's not really doing anything right now. He's in no major storylines. Other than working with Karrion Kross, who currently is not there right now. Suppose he hasn't been there for the last couple of weeks. Now, it doesn't mean he isn't back, but you get my point. Guys, all we've been getting is the low-hanging fruit from WWE. And yes, AJ showed up, but he's not wrestling. Like I said, I didn't believe he was going to wrestle. He was just going to talk. And yes, we did have a possibility of a storyline between Joe Henry and The Miz, who is one of the greatest of all time. Yes, he's a Grand Slammer, but he's never been in any major storylines. None. He's always put over new talent. He's always done what they needed. But they always give TNA, not this, not this, this. They've always been here. And because they made the arrangement with WWE that they're going to help their developmental brand, one of the 3 developmental brands, remember, they have Speed, they have Evolve, and the flagship of all of the developmental NXT, not counting AAA. They haven't decided what they're going to do with AAA yet, because let's make it very clear, AAA will never be NXT. It will be the 4th tier. 4th tier. You got NXT, the top. Then you're going to have Evolve, because that's the first one they announced. Well, no, it's Speed they announced first, but Evolve is the one they really focus the most on. And then there's Speed, and it's going to be AAA. It's always going to be NXT number 1. And with them working with TNA, working with the lowest tier wrestlers they have, none of the main roster wrestlers, even if they're doing great, like Trick Williams. Even JC James is not a bad wrestler, but we're still talking about NXT. Where does TNA get the good stuff? Now, they could change their mind by Bound for Glory and actually finally give us a main roster wrestler like Natalya, who's not really doing a lot, but that would be great for TNA. To have one of the longest running women on TNA. Well, it would make sense having the boat there. You could have a Miz that's on the TV. But that counts if they're willing to use people they're not using at this time. And AJ's all they're willing to show. Again, AJ, who is not in any storylines right now. Who's not really doing much right now. Other than working with Karrion Kross. But he's supposedly not there right now. Now, he could be back like by the time this is going to be up in the next couple of days. You never know. But this is what I mean. TNA did exactly what I thought they're going to do. They put their 2 titles on the waist of 2 WWE wrestlers. So they would have more people looking at their show and more money. But, and this is a big but, what's more important to you? Seeing more TNA people on NXT, or seeing more NXT people on TNA who have established wrestlers that many people believe deserve more shine but can't get it? Do you want to see more NXT stars on TNA? Or do you want to see the TNA stars mean something? Do you want to see Moose really be prominent on TNA TV and NXT? You had one shot with Ubafemi. He lost that shit. Yes, Ubafemi lost to him on TNA TV, but it's not TNA, but it's not the same. The wrestlers on that go to TNA don't need to lose much. But the ones that are already from TNA do, kind of. But it's just me, and I hope you enjoy Slammiversary. Give me a comment below. I know this is a very long video. I hope you enjoy it. Peace.